Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. I think we need to bring coffee. We need to work on that, clearly. A very good morning to you, ladies and gentlemen, and it's a pleasure to be part of this 9th Women Leadership Conference, a journey that started in 2011, quite exciting, but I thought really before we dig in and begin today's celebration, where we celebrate women, and not just women, but women in leadership, I want to request that we pray and dedicate this to the Lord, because I'm told some of us in this building, and you all look the same, I can guess, will be graduating today. And I am looking forward to as many invitations for the graduation parties after this, all right? So I have seen all of you, and I expect invitations. So let's see. I want somebody who believes they love God and they are closer to God than some of us here in this room to come forward and just come and pray for us and dedicate this day to God. Anyone who wants to, please? Ladies. No, Douglas, it's a ladies' day. I don't know why you want to pray when there's someone here.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Annette, FFP14. Let us pray. Father, in the name of Jesus, we thank you so much for this day. We thank you so much for this journey that you've taken us on. And we thank you that it's coming to an end with this graduation. We don't take it for granted. We bless you. We thank you so much for each and everyone here. We thank you so much for all our speakers. We pray, Lord, that you bless this day. It will be enjoyable. Send your angels to celebrate with us. We magnify you and we glorify you. In Jesus' name we have prayed.
Thank you. A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. This is the 9th Annual Women Leadership Conference, organized by the Federation of Uganda Employers and Partners, who we will be running through later today. I want to welcome all of you on behalf of FUE to this great celebration. This year in particular is a great year for FUE. We've been talking FUE at 60. They mark 60 years at this business of speaking on behalf of employers, but also creating relationships and ensuring that there is harmony at the workplace and all the other safety and health matters that they actually handle. But before we actually dig in, because this is not just a conference, but also a celebration of our cohort of 2020. And I wanted to request that maybe the cohort of 2020 stands. We want to recognize you. Please stand. And we see where you are. And the rest of us clap for them. And so for us, we will, for a successful program, please take your seats, ladies. All right. So to kick us off, I want to invite the Executive Director FUE to come and make welcome remarks. And immediately after that, we will quickly move to our keynote address. So you're most welcome, Mr. Douglas Opio.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great privilege for me to be speaking to you this morning. I'm a man, but within my heart, I always say I'm a woman. I'm a woman inside. That's because a woman had a very strong influence on my life, raised by my mother, even when my father was there. Maurice, you didn't know why I wanted to come and pray. Jesus is actually my brother. and if you are not sure, read the Bible. You will hear him saying I'm a brother to him. On a serious note, we are celebrating women in leadership this year under very unique kind of circumstance. COVID-19 has brought the future to the present. We're speaking about the new normal. But I think it's certainly not a new normal, actually. It's simply the new way of life. For a long time, we had thought about a number of things as distant to us. In the employment world, we thought about certain transformations, certain changes as coming to us maybe 10, 15 years from now. A simple one I want to highlight is the concept of working from home. We had thought working from home maybe in 2030 or something like that, that's when we would see it happening. But it's right here with us. And when it started, we thought it would be temporary. Within 2 months, we'll go back to our offices and things will resume to normal. But as you have seen, there's no turning back, basically. A number of employers will simply continue that way. People will continue to work from home. So that's why we speak about the new normal. So for this conference this year, we are looking at maximizing your leadership potential in that kind of environment. An environment which is totally different from what we are accustomed to. People like to talk about the challenges, but from the Federation, we see an opportunity. So that's why it's about the opportunities that we can harness, the opportunities that we can take advantage of. And for this conference, we identified a very good speaker, globally renowned Phil O'Reilly. You listen to him with vast experience to try and unpack for us, but also to give us some pointers of what we could do so that our leadership capabilities can be moved to the next level. Fortunately, a number of women are already making tremendous impact across the globe. And I don't just speak for Uganda. For Uganda, you know them, the stars around us. Most of our parastatals that are working quite well, ministries that are delivering so well, they're headed by women. For a long time, even at the Federation, we were led by a woman. So when you see anything good I'm doing, remember I'm building on a foundation laid by a woman. And they say they measure the success of a leader by what comes after. That's when we see that the leadership was actually good. So women have had, over the years, very strong impact on our society, on our progress, on the kind of lives that we have. So at the Federation, we believe very strongly in women leaders. And this is why we have been running the Female Future program for a long time now. And the testimonies that I hear every day warms my heart a lot. But also teaches me so many things. I've had the privilege of attending some of your courses as a trainer, so I know exactly what it means. Quite high-level kind of trainings. We're already late, so I will not talk too much, but I want to thank our partners. Year by year, we bring to you this conference with support of so many partners. The first one I want to mention is the Confederation of Norwegian Enterprise. The Confederation of Norwegian Enterprise are the originators of the Female Future program. Yeah, it's okay to clap. I see people doing like this. It's okay to clap. The program wouldn't have been here if the Norwegians didn't invent it. So we are very grateful that such a special program has been brought to us. So they have been with us through this journey since 2011. And from FUE, the program has been rolled to several other African countries. Now we have it in Tanzania, we have it in Kenya, we have it in Ghana, and other places which are coming up. Secondly, UN Women. UN Women have been with us through this journey for a long time as well, ever since we started. Promoting also at workplaces the women empowerment principles. I hope we have heard about the 7 women empowerment principles. And together with the companies, we try and do practical things at workplaces that can allow us to tap into the talents that women possess. Because we are strong believers in the idea that having women in leadership shouldn't be a matter of affirmative action, but should be a matter of recognition of the competence that women have. And that's why Female Future Program is very important. We have also worked very closely with the International Labour Organization. And specifically, this program has been recognized by ILO as one of those prominent programs that are changing our workplaces, making the world a better place. And of course, for today, you have seen the video earlier. We are working also with energy independent distributors. They're teaching us a lot more of the kind of water we should be taking. What is safe for our bodies, but what also keeps us healthier. What we consume these days is changing a lot, and therefore the body is stressed a lot more. In fact, recently, just the other day, I was reading Singapore, they have approved lab meat. So you will now be eating meat manufactured in a lab. It's chicken, but grown in a lab. And people are saying it's actually safe compared to GMO. So they're using the cells to be able to make for you beef that they can deliver on your table. And you can enjoy that. So we are eating things that are strange to the body at the moment now, things that traditionally our bodies were not accustomed to processing. So water then becomes a very important part of our lives. Why? Because water purifies the body. So the amount of water you take per day determines how clean your body should be. They say a simple test of whether your body is actually clean is just to check your urine. If the color is changing a bit too much, then you know the body needs a lot more water. Yeah, you need to clean it up. So that's why we are partnering with them today. So for today, I just want to wish you all the very best. The ladies, I'm so happy for you. I feel like I'm also graduating. So congratulations to you. But the real congratulation is when you put this into practice. That's really our measure of success. Our measure of success is not you completing the course, but you actually implementing what you have learned over a period of 9 months. So we are looking forward to a different you. If I come to your office and you're the CEO, I'm delighted. Then I can talk about the results. If I come, I find you on a board, then I'm excited. So that's what we are looking forward to, that you will actually make that difference. And Fatma has given me, of course, very good feedback. So I'm very hopeful. I'm very hopeful that you'll make a huge difference out there. And our country will never be the same because you went through this course. So thank you so much. Before I go back, I have the privilege of my vice chair, who is here with us, a lady also, you know her, a special woman as well, making impact in her own right as well. So she will speak to us to formally welcome us. What I was doing was just to entertain you a little, but now you'll get the real welcome. So my vice chair, you're very welcome. Please clap louder. My job is at risk. Thank you so much. Welcome.
Good morning, ladies. Good morning, ladies. I hope you're all well. Men in the room, good morning. Good morning. You know, when we are dealing with women issues, we forget you, but you are very important to us. Dear ladies in the room, I want to officially welcome you to this women's conference and congratulate you so much on what you've just concluded. You all look beautiful in your masks. I had an opportunity to come early to see those that did not have the masks. When they were taking pictures, you look beautiful. Thank you so much, because everything where you put effort, you know, you can say, yes, it was my company's money, it was my money, I'm graduating, I can appear the way I wish. But I see that you've given it a touch that it deserves. So thank you so much. One of the things I want to speak to is the choice that you made. All the choice your mentors or coaches made for you. And this was the right decision. One, your willingness to accept to learn is a game changer in everybody's life. There are people I have seen that don't want to learn. There are people who think they know it all. And I will tell you, when you start stopping to wish to learn, it's your start of failure. Now, we have this program for you, and you need to ask, why us? Why the women? And I'll tell you why. As a woman, you must get that urge and conviction to grow. It's not very easy for somebody to handpick you. It is in your heart when you tell yourself that I need to lead a team. And this is going to create passion for you. People who are placed in leadership without a conviction, you set them up to fail. So you people going out there to try to learn more about leadership. By the way, for a woman, leadership is natural. We lead every day. We lead in our homes. And when you lead your home well, your children, we do so many things in our societies. Meaning, biologically, God-given, we are supposed to be leaders. What went wrong in the process? That we see men taking on leadership as if it is their space. I don't want to say that we are competing. No. We want to create a platform that is leveled, where a woman's voice is heard, and it's not to say that, do you have something to say? Yes, I do. Because I'm here to say it. You understand? Have you been in meetings where men contribute, and at the end of the last minute, they say, do you have anything to say? Why didn't you start with me if you felt I was that important? So women, the time starts now to start growing your passion for leadership. And I can tell you, you can do it. You know the law of attraction? What you attract is what you get. So I want to argue all women in the room to get yourselves ready. Some of you have gone for this training, but you still have things holding you back. There's a tiny voice telling you, you are not good enough. Learn to speak to the small voices and tell them, I'm ready. I'm ready and I'm going to lead. Learning is good, but where we are failing is our level of execution. I don't know why. Maybe the people we have around us suck us a little. What are people telling you? You know, you cannot use your past to shape your future. Your past may have good things, but I'll tell you they were not good enough. The best lies where? in the future. So people, the question is, are you ready? And who is responsible for your readiness? Is it your boss? Guys, you need to start eyeing positions that you have been dreaming. Don't be limited by the environments that you work in, where the world is almost on the same plate. Look for opportunities and go and lead. We as women, we have created challenges. Challenges around our excuses because we are women. Being a woman is not a challenge. Is it a challenge for you after this training? No. We need now to start challenging those challenges and tell them that we are not the same as men, but we are special in our own way. And we should be ready to show that we are women of value. Because what people are saying is about competence. Are you feeling competent enough to submit with confidence on a matter that you have authority on? Some of you are always intimidated. When it comes in meetings, you don't want to communicate. You first communicate the wrong ones until they will become right. It's okay for people to laugh. There's a learning curve, guys. There's a learning curve. The first time you are taken on EXCO, you will ask baby questions. In 1, 2, 3 meetings, you're going to ask the questions that everybody will say, wow, she's growing up. You grew up, but you had not told yourself that you were ready. So we need to see more women at the top. My name is Annette Nakaunde. I'm the Managing Director of Finance Trust Bank, a bank that puts women first and is led by women. But guys, the top is lonely around men only. We need to see women. But why? Self-pity, not challenging ourselves enough. We are easily drawn back. Our systems have not been fully aligned to leadership. When I talk about systems, some of the women's systems are natural. We are mothers. So how are you going to juggle the two roles and remain that leader that we want to see? And I've always told women, where you are now, the group in the room, we have to babysit you. You have to get mentors. You have to talk to people who will tell you you can do it. Avoid negative energy. Avoid negative energy. Somebody who tells you it is next year. Why not now? You know, sometimes I'll tell you, for us where we sit, you interview a guy when he does not know the job. And the guy acts as, then he starts the job and he gets it right. For us, we are true to ourselves, but sometimes the truth about you may not set you apart. So sometimes you need that false confidence to set you apart. To say, yes, I can. Can you do the job? Yes, I can. What do you do next? Set your systems right. Get a mentor, get a coach, get somebody who does that job to walk that journey with you. Within a few months, you're ready. So of all of you, how many people think if they are given opportunities for the next level, in the next 3 months will be ready? Wow. Even now. That's the whole thing. You have to be ready. When I got into the position of CEO, I was invited into a board meeting. I didn't have notice. I wasn't dressed appropriately. And they said, you're going to take on the bank. I was like, am I ready? But I said, when will I be ready? Let me go in and battle with everything. And here I am. I've led the bank for 8 years. And so far, all is well. So when we come to pull out women, it's not about gender balance. You know, balancing the boat, that for us we are here. You know, for us we have the weight. We can easily balance. It's not about balancing. It's to balance. It's your job to tell them that it was not an issue of what? Balancing. Every one of you, get something that makes you unique. What is your unique selling proposition? And just sit after maybe the weekend, because you've been busy reading and doing what? What is my unique selling proposition? And grow it. Some people cannot communicate. Even what they know, they give it to the neighbor to communicate it. And they uphold that person, yet the material came from you. Some of you are stuck at the first level of leadership because you fear the top. Many leaders, women, are in the middle level management. Challenge yourselves. Let's grow. It's possible. But leadership calls for commitment, calls for energy, no excuses. Women, you have empathy, but this has to be professional empathy. Don't cry when everybody is crying. It may not be necessary. You may be the only one just like this, saying, okay, what's happening here? And maybe the solution is with you. So guys, let us learn the things that make us tick and do a SWOT analysis about yourselves. Every time you have gained value, sit down and think about it. Don't just grow your CV too long but useless. Because when they put you on the table, you cannot remember what you read, you cannot even execute, you cannot show the world that you're different. Ladies, we are few at the top, but we are ready to help you. We are ready to share with you. Get our contacts and we can have tea to say, this challenges me. And we talk about it. What is challenging you today could have been my challenge 3 years ago. Then I will only tell you how I overcame that particular challenge. But unless women can unhold other women, we're not going to make it. Because there are very few men who are out there who are going to pull you along. So because here we are over 10, how about if we generated another pool of 20 by holding another young woman? Won't that be beautiful? Let's go and do that. If the forum that you create today, I know you have a WhatsApp group, you just say everybody will buy a drink and one. Let's bring somebody to talk to us about the things we are facing in work environment. The things we go through are personal to us. They're issues of grieving. Nobody knows how women grieve. But productivity must be put on the table. You understand? So let's see that in this Uganda, through the federation, we have maybe once a quarter conference, not this expensive, even if we sit under a tree, but we know what we are doing. Not to create a political party, but feedback, and then we can improve. Because we have a lot to do, please allow me to stop here, welcome you again, and congratulate you on your achievement. Thank you so much.
What a start. That hand clap wasn't good enough. Another round of applause. Thank you very much, Vice Chair of FUE. Please count us in, some of us men, in supporting the women's movement, in getting to the boardroom. So Anne, you have myself. Douglas said he's a woman inside. We are going to look at that. You have Gideon Baragawa, who heads the Private Sector Foundation. There's women, no, men, not women. There's men in this room who will support the women movement in ensuring we get as many women in the boardroom. And that's why really we are here. And you could never have put it better. I know we have a keynote speaker, so without taking most of his airtime, allow me introduce our keynote speaker, Mr. Phil O'Reilly. Mr. Phil O'Reilly is Managing Director of Iron Duke Partners, a Wellington-based public policy advisory firm. He's a global business leader and advocate. He's chair of the board of business at OECD, based in Paris, which is the representative of businesses in OECD member states. Until recently, he was a member of the governing body of the International Labour Organization, based in Geneva, and a member of the APEC Business Advisory Council. He's involved in the work of the B20, advising G20 leaders. He has acted in a governance or advisory capacity to a number of New Zealand and overseas organizations in the areas as adverse as trade, sustainability, diversity, pay equity, manufacturing, tertiary education, child poverty, social welfare, and the future of work. He was previously Chief Executive of Business New Zealand, New Zealand's leading business advocacy group, representing thousands of businesses of all sizes. So ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Mr. Phil O'Reilly, who's joining us via Zoom. You're most welcome, Mr. Phil.
Well, thanks very much. I hope you can hear me, and I'm very pleased and proud to be part of your session today. When I heard about what you were doing and to be a part of your awards ceremony and the great recognition that you're getting, I was very pleased and very proud. So can I thank Douglas very much for the invitation, and Annette, those are inspiring words you have just given us. And I think I will reflect a little bit on some of those words myself as I go through my presentation to you. I want to send you warm Pacific greetings from a lovely spring evening here in Auckland, New Zealand, New Zealand's largest city. I'm here staying overnight in a hotel, which is why you've got a not very trendy background here. I apologize for that. I'm in a hotel room and I'm on an iPad, so apologies for the lack of technology, but I'm certainly here in spirit, of course. You've heard that until about 5 years ago, I ran Business New Zealand, which is the sister of the Federation of Ugandan Employers, and let me congratulate the Federation on a wonderful diamond jubilee. 60 years is not easy for any business organisation. So congratulations and best wishes for your next 60. What I'm going to do is chat to you a little bit about women's empowerment, and I'm going to finish by giving you some ideas, really just for you to think about, a little bit like Annette just did, but from my own perspective. But before that, I'm going to speak to you a little bit about, what I'm seeing from COVID and the next normal or the new normal that is coming from that. I'm then going to talk to you a little bit about the future of work. You've heard that I've done some work in that space over the years. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that because it's important you understand that. And I'm going to do all of that from the perspective of, firstly, being a New Zealander. New Zealand is currently COVID-free. Because we're very isolated in New Zealand, it's a long way from anywhere here. And we've managed to close our borders. So our life in New Zealand is just as normal. Nobody much wears masks. We get along. We can go to a party and gather together and watch football and so on. It's just our borders are closed. So, it's a strange time to be in New Zealand, but nevertheless, I can't think of too many places in the world I'd rather be right now. So I talk to you from that perspective, and as a great friend of Africa and of Uganda specifically. And then I also speak to you, as Douglas said, as one who has spent many years thinking about and working in the area of women's empowerment, and not just women. I've spent a lot of time thinking also and working in disability as well. So I've sort of built up, if you like, some expertise and some insights over the years in my work, mentoring and helping young women. And I've got a number of them that I help around the world today just making sure that they can get their head straight about what it is they might want to do in the future. And I'll share some of those experiences with you. So let me start with, let's chat about COVID and beyond. What's happening right now with regard to COVID? As I say, I've got a set of slides here which I won't show you today, but I'll send them off to Douglas in the next 24 hours or so, and he can share them with you if he wishes to do that. So don't have to worry about taking too many notes. There'll be a written slide presentation that will come to you in the next few days. A lot of people say that COVID is an unprecedented crisis. There's a lot of that kind of language in the media, isn't there? This is the worst of times for us, which prompted me and some colleagues to have a look at history. I studied history at university. What can the history teach us about COVID? What can it say to us about what's gone on in the past and what might happen in the future? And we look at history over the last, say, 120 years or so, and we see that COVID really is not unprecedented. We've been through some very, very difficult times in the past. So take the First World War, for example, 1914 to 1918. About 20 million died in the First World War. The Spanish flu, which was one of the predecessors to COVID, of course, one of the first big global pandemics, killed probably more people than the First World War did. 17 to 50 million people died of the Spanish flu. More American servicemen died of the Spanish flu than died in the trenches of Europe. So what happened there? What happened as a result of the First World War and the Spanish flu? Well, what you saw was some things that we might think are negative today, the emergence of global communism. But you saw the US emerge as a world power. You saw much improved workers' rights. The International Labour Organization was first put together in 1919. You saw increasing moves towards emancipation for women. And I'm very proud to note that New Zealand was the first country in the world where women won the right to vote. And you also saw lots of changes in popular culture. For the first time, you saw the emergence of jazz music, a new form of music where Black people were fundamentally the heroes, of course, and became very popular. Have a look at the Wall Street crash. Not many people died as a result, particularly, but another major event. Lots of negative things happened as a result of that, of course. Fascism, the emergence of nationalism, militarism, and eventually the Second World War. But something good happened as a result also of that event, and that was the New Deal, the emergence of social welfare in the United States. Roosevelt, as the president, introduced the New Deal. Have a look at the Second World War, 85 million dead. That was followed by the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, the most fundamental human rights document that we have in the world today, and the emergence, of course, of the modern United Nations. It was followed by the Marshall Plan, which is the emergence of the New Europe, and that of course led to the OECD. It led to the emergence of jet flight, the biggest single thing that helped to bring forward globalization. And of course, it also led to the Cold War, which was not such a good thing, but as you can see, it led to a lot of good things as well. The early 1980s saw HIV/AIDS and the pandemic that has affected so many people on your continent. 32 million dead so far and counting. But what did that lead to? It led to some positive things, changes in the nature of foreign aid, probably a big part of the Millennium Development Goals. And if we think about moving forward now to COVID, about 1.5 million dead, maybe a few more, then that's of course rising. So what's that going to lead to? Let's have a think about that. And I'll come to that in the next piece of the presentation. But if we think about all of these events that we've thought about over the last 120 odd years, some good will come of them. And usually what happens is that we see changes in the human condition improve through new institutions, the ILO, the United Nations, the Marshall Plan, the UN Declaration, or the Fundamental Declaration of Human Rights, and so on. So some good will come of this. So, you're going through some tough times now, but one of the things that you have the capacity to do as promising young women is to try and pick your version of what's going to happen that's different. Have a think about that. What will you be able to do that's different and positive as a result of COVID-19. And if we think about some of the things that will change, and we're already seeing this changing as a result of COVID-19, massive changes in innovation around vaccinology, around these remarkable new vaccines that have emerged at breakneck speed, at light speed, compared to what was the case in the past. And in talking to some of the experts around that from an OECD and New Zealand perspective, they tell me that because we've managed to make these vaccines emerge for COVID, that will mean massive benefits to other big things that afflict us all. And in particular, of course, we can think about some of the big diseases that afflict your continent. Innovation more generally is increasing. People are online shopping a lot more in my country, for example, and that's a good thing. But beware the digital divide. I'm sure in Uganda you have a very significant digital divide where you and people like me, Douglas and Annette, well, we're all online and being citizens of the globe. And I'm sure that many of your fellow countrymen and women do not have that advantage. In New Zealand, we had a big heavy duty lockdown of about 4 weeks to make sure that we could be COVID free. And about a third of New Zealanders like me went home and we got our lovely bread delivered and had our coffee and just got on with our business because we were online. A third of New Zealanders had to go to work. So they went to work and carried on under difficult circumstances. And a third of New Zealanders sat at home and literally did nothing because they were not connected very well digitally. It's probably even worse for you, but that's the digital divide that I'm talking about. And as young women seeking to make your way and to become leaders of Uganda and hopefully the world, one of the things that you'll have to consider is the fact that we can no longer put aside the digital divide. We need to think about that. Political disruption will doubtless increase and has already increased, of course, in the United States, in Brazil, and some of those sorts of places. But social progress will undoubtedly improve as a result of COVID, even though, as a direct result of COVID, world child poverty has doubled in the last 12 months or so as a result of COVID. But if you think about the long run of history, I'm very confident that things will improve. Of course, the party will start. You know, we're allowed to have a party in New Zealand. Many places can't gather together, but there'll be a global regathering once people have the vaccine and once we start traveling again. And one of the things I'm thinking about in New Zealand, and I'd certainly encourage you to think about it, is what does that mean for you? How do you reconnect? Because the connection will be different in the future to the one that we had in the past. It won't be the same because people will have had different experiences and we'll have lost some of our friends as a result of what's gone on here. So have a think about when your party starts, what's that going to look like? Of course, new companies and sectors will emerge. The online thing, the fact that we're talking tonight, in my time anyway, this morning, your time, on Zoom. I don't know about you, but a year ago, I'd never heard of Zoom. I thought you did a conference call. I never thought about video conferencing in quite this easy way. So those kind of new things will emerge, and old companies and old ways of doing things will sometimes go away. And the other thing that's very positive about COVID is big new ideas will emerge. Big new ideas about cooperation, big new ideas about the nature of globalization, big new ideas about global solidarity. It's very interesting that part of the debate that's going on in the world today is the wonderful statement by the WHO that not one of us is safe until everyone is safe. And the action around the world to make sure that quality vaccines are available, not just to the wealthy, but to the poor, because it's very much a global health pandemic. And that's a really interesting new way of thinking. We should ask ourselves how we might be able to maintain that momentum to make it more real for more people. Let me talk a little bit about the future of work, because the future of work, of course, is very much something that's on everybody's mind. We've been working from home a bit, and we'll be thinking about the future. When you think about the future of work, the future that you'll be working in increasingly as you move forward, a lot of jobs that we didn't think could be done remotely, now we realize can be done remotely, at least to some extent. I think there's a danger of overdoing that. I'll come back to that. I still think that work fundamentally is what I call a contact sport. People go to work for reasons other than simply achieving an outcome of a task. And I think as women, you're more alive to that than many men are. But at least we've worked out that quite a lot more jobs can be done remotely than we thought. Now, I think that's a massive advantage to Uganda and to Africa more generally, because that means the world can come to you. You've leaped over, if you like, some of the pain of 20th century technology that the developed world had to put up with. So just outside are poles and wires in Auckland here carrying telephone lines. So the fact that the world is working more remotely and that migration flows will change because of that, then that means that potentially you have a more competitive position as young women working because you have the capacity to reach out more to the world for human reasons. I'm conscious of the fact I'm freezing a little bit. I apologize for that. Hopefully it's not technology at my end. So technology is replacing a whole bunch of jobs. And one of the things about that is that this globalization piece means that everyone now competes with everyone. You are no longer competing just with other Ugandans, nor are you just competing with other like countries like Kenya. You are now competing with Germany. You are now competing with the UK. You are now competing with Australia. That's a good thing, I think, because it enables you to shine on an increasingly equal platform. I think that democratization, if you like, of digital is massively important for you, because it'll enable you and your children and your families to increasingly become globally connected and evidently globally competitive. Bear in mind also that everything gets disrupted. The bank that Annette leads, Annette, that's being disrupted, I'm sure. Television's being disrupted, computing technology is being disrupted, governments themselves are being disrupted. You might ask yourself how you play a part in moving forward positively through that disruption. But there's some age-old truths about the future of work as well. People who want to be successful still want to work with others. There's some wonderful global research on this, and I'd really recommend you have a look at it, because it says that people turn up to work for a whole bunch of reasons. And if you were to list, say, 25 reasons people turn up to work, pay, turns out, income is like often down at number 23, okay? Actually, people turn up to work because they want to be part of something bigger. They want to be part of a team. They want to help their communities or their society. They want to help others. They want to have a sense of self-worth. So work is a human thing, as much as it is a technological thing or a capitalist thing or a money thing. So when you think about the future of work, just understand that this is not a future whereby we're all going to sit at home and talk to each other on Zoom and do nothing else. In fact, we're going to connect. And I'm very proud of the fact that today you are connecting in a hotel room in Kampala. You're connecting with me online, but after I leave you, you'll be connecting. You'll be connecting over coffee. You'll be connecting to share ideas. You'll be sharing your fears and your desires and your hopes. And that's very, very important, because that's actually what work is all about. People want a sense of purpose. People want a sense of connection. So the future of work, in my view, is very much your future. I think it equalizes things, and that's a good thing for you, because far too often Uganda and the other countries of Africa have been left behind because you have been a long way away and because there was no particular way of connecting you. And that's particularly true of Ugandan and other African women, because you tended to be much more at the margins. If I was speaking even 10 years ago, 15 years ago, increasingly not the case today. And that's why, of course, this program being run by the Federation is